Oh, yeah, it's still going. It's still going. It's still going. Dang it. What's up, everybody? Trinity here. Welcome back to Second Straight. I hope you're all having a very good day today. Today, we are going to talk about What If episode 7, right? Aren't we on episode 7? I'm kind of lost because I remember I lost didn't get to do a chance to talk about last week's episode on last week's episode. So thank you all so much for being here today. I hope you're all having a very good day today. Now, if you are already here, please make sure that you give the video a thumbs up, share it out with your friends, tell them to come hang out and do all that good stuff. We are going to get into full spoilers for the episode here in just a minute. Now, I want to say that first of all, I thought this episode. Oh, hold on. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. First of all, I want to say again, thank you all so much for being here. But this series has overall, What If, has been okay, and it's not even for me like the fact that it's like animation or anything like that. I mean, for me, I mean, if anything, it'd be the fact that it's a TV show. I'm not really as into TV shows and all of those things. But here through these last 7 episodes, we've kind of seen, the like I guess we've all maybe kind of gotten used to everything that they are doing here in this series with just kind of what they're doing here, and I really do feel like one of the things they're doing is obviously seems like they are using the multiverse, using this show here to expand stuff for the MCU. In case we already know that the MCU is going to be doing the full how would you say, like the full multiverse thing and everything, and I feel like this is kind of a way that they're going to use to bring in the other characters and things like that, maybe into the main Marvel Cinematic Universe, um, with things like that. So yeah, um, but altogether, we've got this episode. I thought was I didn't really like this episode as much. We've got a lot of returning voices. Jeff Goldblum coming back. We've got obviously Chris Hemsworth. Natalie Portman actually doing her own voice in this show, as well as Dr. Jane Foster. We've got Kat Dennings coming back, being her character as well, being Darcy Lewis. And like I said, I don't know. This episode for me, it just wasn't really one of the best ones. I would say it's probably right down there with the zombies episode, with the Captain Carter episode, and I might actually argue that the Captain Carter episode was even better than this one. I mean, altogether so far, my favorite episodes were what was it? Episode 4, I believe, wasn't it episode 4? I think it was episode 3, the one with Hank Pym. If basically what if there was no America's greatest mightiest heroes, and this one right here, I don't know, it was just it just wasn't there for me as far as, and I think some of the voice acting in this episode as well just wasn't quite there. Like even Chris Hemsworth, his voice acting coming through was kind of, I didn't really feel it. And the funny thing is, even Tom Hiddleston in the series that he's been in have kind of been the same for me as well. Where like he doesn't feel like, and here's the thing: is like you can't even say not all of them are used to doing voice animations for TV shows as well. Because like one of the first, like Tom Hiddleston, for example, did a voice of a pirate in the God, what was that? It was one of these. Oh man, what's that show, sweetie? The Pirate Fairy.
Yeah.
The Pirate Fairy. What's the name of it? I can't remember. It's one of those ones that has to do with like Tinkerbell and all of that stuff. But it's called the Pirate Fairy, and I even feel like Tom and his voice was really good in that movie. Um, and I feel just like in these episodes, like some of these people, I don't know, maybe it could be the voice coaches and the people doing the recording and stuff like that for the series as well. But this one right here, again, it just didn't seem to really match. I'm not sure who they got to come in and play Carol Danvers as well. Voice didn't really work for me. It was a little, I don't know. And some of them I kind of wonder like why they didn't get some of the actors back anyway, considering they are currently doing other stuff in the MCU anyway. Like what's Brie Larson doing? working out on her Instagram. Like they should. I think they could have got her back to do the voice as well. Back to do the voice as well. But this one episode right here, Party Thor, just did not really do it for me. Like I said, one of the for me definitely one of the lesser good episodes. And I say good because there's actually some cool stuff that happened in this episode that I want to kind of talk about here in just a minute. Altogether, the animation continues to be just what the animation is for this series. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It is what it is. I do think the animation in this one, is it just me, or with the whole this whole Thor in this episode, he looked very, I feel like they went Disney Prince on him. He seemed very like a Disney character in this one. From the way they made him look to just how he was acting and everything as well. Seemed like something out of like, one of the Cinderella shows or something, Cinderella, or Beauty and the Beast. It seemed very much like that. He was very Disney Prince, not princess, if you will. But altogether, I mean, the episode, like, I'll be honest with you, I was awake at midnight when it dropped, and I started watching it, and I fell asleep. Now, I got to tell you, I was on medication, so that's part of the reason. But then I even watched it again, like a couple hours later. I woke back up again. I had to take a little bit more because and I started watching it again, and I fell asleep. Now, I'm going to say that I believe a large part of that was due to the medication. And then even when I woke up again around like 7 this morning, I tried to watch it too and fell asleep again. Again, medication. Well, I'm going to put it off on the medication for now. But definitely not one of the better episodes here as far as everything is. But again, some very cool stuff. We'll get into that in just a minute. Altogether, I don't know that all of these series are ones that you necessarily are must see. I think by the time we get more into phase 4 here of the MCU, and then maybe even into phase 5, I think some of these shows might prove to be something that you're going to want to watch a little bit more. But I think for right now, it's a show that it's not like a must see. And I honestly kind of feel that about all of these series all together, right? Like even when WandaVision came out, like everyone's kind of, like we know how a lot of people felt about it. For me, I thought it was a great series, probably one of the best series out of all these so far. But I really felt like it had a lot of stuff tying in to the future of the MCU. Now Falcon and Winter Soldier was kind of the same thing. Like it had some cool stuff, but I think it's going to tie into stuff in the future. Obviously with Loki as well, a lot of setup in there. But this one right here, I just don't feel is. I don't know. This series right here, I think the payoff is probably going to come much later for us in the series or in the MCU, more so than anything. And again, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. I'll go ahead and get into the comments here, and then we'll get into some of the spoiler talk here for this episode, because while there wasn't a whole lot that even really happened in this episode, there was some very, very cool stuff that I didn't really see anybody mentioning. I watched a couple of videos. I think I watched Paul from Heavy Spoilers. I watched his video, and I watched. I don't think I watched Eric Voss. I don't think I watched New Rockstars yet. I don't think I watched Eric Voss yet, but just some stuff that I really didn't really see anybody. I think I watched some of Den of Nerds. I don't think I even seen Josh talking about some of this stuff neither. Just some really weird stuff, and I could be completely wrong on some of these things as well. But let's get in here and see who all we've got here in the chats here. I see we've got Superfan Adam Shahan. Thank you so much for being here. Felicity Poobell, Justin Simone, my man, Dan the Man. What is up? Guys, go check out Dan the Man's channel after this stream. He just dropped a video that a little like short film that him and some of his friends did. It's pretty cool. Nikki, thank you so much for being here. Daniel Fisher in the building. Let's see. Anybody else that I've missed saying what's up to here yet? Where? Oh, there. We even got the Godfather, my man. And Adam from Fanjecture says, chair stream. Yeah. With his 15-month member super chat. Thank you so much for that, Adam. Greatly appreciated. We also got Star Wars Santa up in the building. What is up, man? Thank you all so much for being here for the What If chair stream. So let's see what everybody's saying here. Everybody's saying what's up. Justin says I haven't seen the episode, but I can safely assume it's trash. Didn't we get Fat Thor? Wouldn't he be a party Thor? No, actually he wouldn't be a party Thor. And if he was partying, and I actually did a video on this. It's one of my favorite videos that I ever did. That definitely was not party Thor. That was depressed Thor. That's what that was. That was depressed Thor. That wasn't party Thor. Even as much as he might have tried to mask a lot of that. Yeah, he was definitely not party Thor. In the movie. And like I said, I did a video about that a long time ago. Like I think it was like character study Thor or something like that. Definitely one of my favorite videos I ever did. Make sure you go check it out. I'll see if I can drop it in the chats here in a few minutes. Dan says, yeah, thanks for tuning in to the film the other day. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Good stuff, man. Justin says, Captain Carter, the oppressed woman that wasn't oppressed in the original Captain America movie. Oh, my God. I'm not reading that. I'm not reading that message. We're about positivity here. Nikki says it was literally the worst fucking one. Now, you know what, Nikki? Like, the zombie one for me, I think, you know what? It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up between this one and the zombie one. I think they're probably about the same. I think they're about the same as far as that. Another chance to make a goddamn joke. Yep. Release the foam. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And again, that's just a Jeff Goldblum kind of thing anyway. Probably, but yeah. I did think that was pretty funny because I did rewind that and watch that a couple times. Or maybe I just seen that. Maybe I didn't really rewind it. Maybe I was just on drugs. Maybe I just seen it a couple times because I watched the movie a couple of times. Oh! Stream bombing stream. We got my son back there stream bombing. I seen him. Okay. Hemsworth was probably thinking, oh, here we go, trashing my character again. Well, he's getting ready to get cucked in Love and Thunder anyway, so what's the difference at this point? I'm kidding, but he's going to be. And it's not the drugs talking. I haven't taken any painkillers since early this morning. I did take the ones for the back spasms because that one, I've got to take that one. That one really helps. But I can only take it every 8 hours. So, Felicity says, "Girl, don't you know you're supposed to save it for the stage? Hold your water." Yeah, what time are you guys going live on stage tonight? You guys do that tonight? Justin says, "That's why I watched Visions instead. I'm not even watching this garbage anymore. I'm done." Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I don't think they're must-see. But I do think some of this stuff is going to spill into the main storylines too. Another stream bombing. I know the Disney playbook called me the New England Patriots. Oh man. Crap too. So. All right, Adam. Yeah. Again, like this definitely wasn't one of the better episodes. Alexandra Daniels apparently was in a handful of things earlier. Alexandra Daniels. Oh, is that who was doing the voice of Captain Marvel? Yeah, and that makes sense. That makes sense for that. I mean, hell, why didn't they just get Lake Bell, who did Black Widow? I think Lake Bell's awesome anyway. Nikki says I always tease. Oh man, Felicity, your secret is safe with me. That's funny. It seemed very Disney princess. It did. It did seem very Disney princess. What they did there. Let's see. Did Mike Porter give a 10? Mike Porter gave it a 10. My man. He did. Not sure if Mike would even give this a 10. Oh, dang. I don't know. We're going to have to see if he gets in here. We're going to have to ask him. Superfan Adam Shawhan says, I like the ending. Yes. And that's something we're going to talk a little bit about that as it pertains to something else too, I think. And he says, I know I never repeat myself, so no worries. I think most know that I can't stand this show. Yeah, it's just been, I don't know. It hasn't been the best series. It hasn't been. But again, I mean, I think that's kind of the point with all of these series is not all of them are supposed to be the best. They're just TV shows that kind of add in to everything going on with the series overall. Um, oh damn, really? Fisher? Um, God, so I would probably rank it a negative. A negative number. Oh yeah, Thick and Duck got married. Yeah, I thought that was funny. Yeah, Darcy and Howard the Duck getting married. I thought that was pretty funny. And what I thought was so great was that because Seth Green is doing the voice, and the way that it came in, she's like, "Oh, what about this guy?" He's like, "Ah, what do you say?" I can't even remember what he smarted off to, or something about something being a brunette. I was like, "Oh damn." Yeah, man, throwing the shade hard, man. But yeah, yeah, definitely some of the good stuff. Thank you for being here, Godfather. Made it just a bit late. All good, Star Wars. And I was a couple minutes late getting here too, man. Um, let's see. Romeo says, "Hey, got rid of your collar thing. How's it going?" Yeah, I've got the brace right here. I only got to wear it like when I'm like sitting up and walking around and stuff. And yeah, so I'm taking it off. I'm taking it off for right now. Taking it off for right now so I can breathe a little bit. Because believe me, yeah, it sucks wearing that thing. Fat Thor is alcoholic Thor. Yeah, 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 yeah. Drinking your problems away, Thor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why is Thor still worthy of Mjolnir? Well, to be honest, in this episode, just because everything was totally different, Mjolnir wouldn't have had it wouldn't have had the enchantment on it, because what we know, and this is the MCU, since this is MCU canon. In the MCU at that point, he didn't put the enchantment on the hammer until Thor deemed himself. uh, oh, okay, I'm doing a stream so my wife won't come give me a kiss goodbye. Bye, babe. Love you. Um, so yeah, you wouldn't have to be worthy to actually lift it at this point. Honestly, I think at this point anybody probably could have lifted it, because it didn't have the enchantment on it. It didn't have the enchantment. Because yeah, that didn't happen until he was banished to Earth, and none of that stuff happened. So completely different circumstances. Um, are you here about the cable? What am I missing? What am I missing there? Am I missing something there? He has to drink a lot because his throat is always Thor. Yes, yes. I you watched Paul's recap. Then I was gonna say I watched Paul's recap. Did I miss? Oh yeah, I was drinking because his throat. Okay, yeah. Santa says zombie was worse for me. This episode was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. Yeah, and that's the thing for me, Santa, is because like me, like I don't like. I'm not into the whole zombie thing at all. I'm just not into it, which is really crazy because I'm into like body horror, but it's completely different. And yeah, like zombie stuff ranks low for me, like all together. And like this one, it actually had some fun stuff in it and some cool stuff in it. Yeah, my mom is coming. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I haven't. Why? Oh, he made the throat joke as well. Then. Oh, yeah, yeah. 7 p.m. on. Oh, 7 p.m. on Sundays. Okay. All right. Hello, children. Well, they still have to turn. Still have to turn Star. Okay. That's only in the comics that they'll probably do in the movie. Um. Oh, is Trinity fence riding even with a fucked up back? Oh man, do I need to take out my badge? Nah, like I like this. Like again, this episode, I'm not really into it. I'm not like, it just wasn't. It wasn't that good. I didn't think it was. Um, what if the TV shows are tests to see what people are saying? Yeah, and it could easily be that too, where they make the shows like, oh, we can use this or we cannot use it, because altogether that's what they'll do anyways. Kind of cherry pick what they want to use later in the first place. So yeah, I mean that would make sense. Rule 34 will deliver on Darcy and Howard for sure. Rule 34. Rule 34. You got me there. You got me there. I don't know what you're talking about. Carol couldn't lift it. That's interesting. That's interesting. But I'm not gonna go into that. Yeah, that's interesting though, huh? That's interesting because I mean, like I said, the hammer wouldn't have had the enchantment on it. So maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's still a thing. Who knows? Maybe their weapons are still not able to be wielded by humans. Maybe, I don't know. I can't explain it. But I mean, like honestly though, like the Thor, it wouldn't have had the enchantment on there, which is, I mean, as far as we know, it wouldn't have anyway. Unless he put the enchantment on there for any other reason, which could be. The cable fat Thor comment. The cable fat Thor comment. What do you mean? Oh, what? What do you mean? What cable fat Thor comment? What cable fat Thor comment? Like, are you talking about cable? Like, like the character? I don't know. I don't know. She salted Trinity, embarrassed her on Twitter. Did you miss second stream? Yeah. Yeah, no. I don't think she follows me on Twitter. She don't know about that. Versus Noob Master. Versus Noob Master. You're gonna have to put it. I don't know what you're talking about. Alternate title: Don't tell mom the Shield director's unconscious. Yeah. Internet rule 34. If it exists, there's point of it. Oh, okay. Yeah. I gotcha. I didn't know that was rule number 34, but it makes sense. It makes sense. No. I'm just kidding, sweetie. But now getting into the episode, like we're gonna go into some spoilers here. If you guys want to talk spoilers, if you guys have anything, let me know. One of the very first things when the show starts off, that I don't hear anybody really talking about, and to me I think is very important, was what they were looking at and what they were tracking. Darcy and Jane Foster. Where they were talking about Star. What was it? Star Alpha. Man, what? Star Alpha. God, what was it? Began with an L, didn't it? Star Alpha. Man, I'm gonna have to look that up. Star Alpha. Let me know in the comments. Star Alpha. Dang it. I can't remember. It was Star Alpha. This isn't the drugs. I was just actually looking at this a minute ago. Star Alpha. Dang it. Yeah. Oh. When Professor Hulk and Rocket showed up to see Thor in New Asgard, Thor said, "Are you here about the cable?" Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I thought you were an MC. Oh, dang, called out. Oh man, glad to see you're doing good. Thank you, Perp. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, doing okay. But when they were there, they were at the very beginning. They talked about the Star Alpha. You know what? Hold on a second. Let me see about Star Alpha Icarus. They were talking about Star Alpha Icarus, and they were talking about how this anomaly happened on this planet, or on this. They said on a planet right before it was destroyed, right? And basically, they seen that same thing, the same anomaly, heading towards Earth, and that's when they followed it to Las Vegas, right? That's how they ended up in Vegas, and it ended up being Thor and his mighty band of party warriors. Yeah, but they showed up there while looking, and that's what they were looking for. Now you got to remember that Jane Foster and Darcy Lewis, they were looking into those kinds of things anyway, like the Einstein-Rosen bridge. Remember everything in Thor 1? Like they're looking for those kinds of things out there in the universe. Now the one thing I thought was interesting was basically Thor showed up there. Is what we come to find out was that Thor's band of people was there. They partied, and then it blew up. It was destroyed, right? And later you actually see her talk to him about that. She's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's like, it wasn't even really a planet. It was more like a star, and it was dying. It was a dying star. Or I think he said asteroid. Basically, but not a star. But very interesting. that there's this people on this asteroid that's getting ready to be destroyed and everything. Now, and again, later they were talking about it. Now, to me, it sounds like they were looking at that, and I don't think it's. I think it's something that's probably happened before, um, where we see Thor, doing their party thing, and they show up, and then the planet was destroyed, and then the way Thor arrives in Las Vegas, I thought was very interesting, considering what's going on here. And he arrives, and he's like, "Hey, humans, your what does he said? Your dull lives are getting ready." Basically, he says they're getting ready to come to an end, right? And then he's like, "Oh, it's party time." Well, my thing is, what if they are there to party, get everybody partied out, only to meet their demise, right? Because if you think about in the episode and what Jane Foster and Darcy Lewis were investigating, and then they called Shield, and then eventually Shield comes at them and is like, "Hey, what are you doing? What's going on? What'd you find?" And they're sitting there interrogating them there on the helicarrier, and they're going into some of that stuff, and they're talking about it, and that's when they ended up using the pager to page Captain Marvel, right? And it's very interesting because what do they need Captain Marvel there for? What do they need Carol there for? What's the threat? Right? What's the threat when that they need to get Carol Danvers there for? It's the threat that Dr. Foster and Darcy Lewis were talking about. The threat being Thor and his party of people, and how the last planet came to an end. And I'm guessing this has happened before, and that's why they're kind of investigating it. And the threat and why they would call Captain Marvel down for that would be because there is the threat, and she obviously came down and confronted Thor and told him to leave, to get off the planet. Now, why would they do that? Well, like I said, I believe that a minute ago, is because they are there. We seen they went to that other dying asteroid, and it was getting ready to be blown up anyway, right? But then you've seen all the little anomalies popping up all over the map, the little party kind of spreading throughout the world, and Carol arrives and tells him he's got to leave, and everything kind of going on here. And it really reminded me of something. Now, I'm not saying that this is it, but it reminds me of what if Thor is actually a herald of Galactus? Right? I really do feel that's kind of like what was set up there. Because you see Thor coming, just like he did the other planet. He shows up, parties with everybody, then that planet met its destruction, which is something I guarantee you happened before. And that's why kind of got the attention of Dr. Foster and even Darcy, what they were investigating, and it really reminded me of that. Now, the thing that we do see is when at the very end of the episode, that's when we see Ultron arrive with all of his Ultron bots, and we also see that Ultron has all of the basically all the Infinity Stones within his chest, and then he lifts his visor, and he has Vision's body in there with the Mind Stone. I think the only one he was missing was the Time Stone, which would have been here on Earth. So that's probably what Ultron would have been here for, right? He would have been here for that. Now, I don't think that Ultron is necessarily. I mean, like I said, was Thor being a herald of Galactus here? That's what it felt like to me. Why else would Carol and everybody else want him gone? Why would they want him off the Earth with all his partying shenanigans and everything like that, right? And that's really what I feel is like. Maybe he was a herald sent here to basically prepare the Earth for destruction. And does that mean that I'm thinking? I don't necessarily know that it's for Galactus since we don't have Galactus, but I don't feel that it was necessarily for Ultron, because it looks like Ultron was just on the mission to get all the gems, all the Infinity Stones. Where I feel like maybe he had to get there to the Earth to get the gem before Galactus shows up to consume the planet. Now I know this is probably getting way ahead of ourselves and all of that kinds of stuff, but tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me if you think I'm wrong down in the comments below. That is Thor being a herald either of Galactus, or was he being a herald maybe for Ultron here, leading him to the stones and different things like that? Because I really felt like that's what was going on there with that. And then, like I said, you get Ultron that lands. Now, the interesting thing here with Ultron landing, and he has all his Ultron bots, is what is he made of? Where did he come from? Where did Ultron come from in this universe? Now, we know that in the MCU, Ultron basically created himself through Tony Stark, because Tony Stark had the Ultron program, and then eventually, he took over Jarvis, kind of took over that, and then he got into like all the little what were they, the Stark bots, and that's kind of where he did. And then he started building his own body out of vibranium, and then he eventually made Vision with the vibranium and the Mind Stone. Where here you can see we've already got Vision there with the Mind Stone. So who made Vision? Now, if you read the comic books, Hank Pym was who actually created Ultron, and then Ultron ultimately created Vision, and then he had Vision wanting to go out and destroy the Avengers and things like that, so we could take over the Earth. So I feel like they're maybe tapping into some of the comic book stuff here, because like that was very interesting. The other thing that was interesting was he was Ultron, and then he lifted his mask and he was Vision under there, right? But also just the way he looked really reminded me of Galactus, right? Now, obviously, Galactus is way huge and all that kinds of stuff anyway. But as far as I know, and if I'm not mistaken, can Galactus make himself bigger and smaller? I don't know. I know even Lavis was asking me, Lavis Blackman was asking me that on their the main gang stream the other day on the main authority, and I was like, I don't know, but that seems like that would make sense. The kind of being that he is. But I thought it was very interesting there with all of those things. Thinking about Ultron going after the stones, thinking that Thor was there here on Earth to party and maybe be the herald to somebody who's coming to destroy the Earth, just like he did that planet before. And I think that's maybe where it's going, is kind of setting up some of these different kind of multiversal threats and stuff, because obviously this is a different universe than what we were dealing with in our main Marvel Cinematic Universe, in the main universe. But I really felt that's what they were going. Like, to me, that's what it felt like. I was like, and I don't hear anybody talking about that. That Thor was at this other planet, it got destroyed. Thor went to this other planet, it got destroyed. Thor comes to Earth, it's gonna get destroyed. Why else wouldn't we want him here? But that's just me. I could be completely wrong. Let me know what you think about my my Herald of Galactus or whatever thing down in the comments below. Now, let's get here back into the chats and see what everybody is saying.
Can we go in electronics?
No. Let's see. Mr. Ratcatcher 2, thank you so much for being here. Says, I've been keeping you in my prayers, Trinity. I hope you're doing better. Doing a lot better. Thank you. I appreciate that. Felicity Poobell with a 2-month member super chat says, love the male toxicity, Trinity. Be well, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Felicity. I appreciate you. Mr. Ratcatcher says, I'm completely done wasting my time watching the show after this episode. Well, I mean, there's only 2 episodes left. You've made it this far. Just watch the last 2 episodes. You don't have to like them. You also don't have to watch them either. I'm gonna watch them. I mean, yeah. Just like I need like I'm not into like the whole, like, I love Star Wars. I'm a movie guy. I love Star Wars, but like they're doing the whole animation thing. You know, they did all the Clone Wars, the Rebels, and everybody says I should watch that, but I'm just not into the TV shows and not really into the animation tying into that stuff anyway. So I honestly couldn't blame anybody for not wanting to continue or not watching any of this stuff anyway. I do think it's obviously going to be playing into the MCU in the first place, but yeah. But I need to check out that Vision show, because I've heard it's great and it looks pretty damn cool. It looks pretty damn cool. Amen, Jared. What I miss? What I miss? Jared. What? convenient that Carol is around when Vision Ultron arrives. Absolutely, absolutely, definitely. Um, that's too dope of an idea, Trinity. But and that's what I felt like because like, and that's the thing nobody's talking about is the fact that he showed up at that last planet and it got destroyed. He's showing up here and now it's destroyed. Like I kind of feel like that's like it feels like a Galactus and a Herald of Galactus kind of thing. Um, Harold Thor would be too toxic for the MCU. Well, I mean, they did it in the comics. They just did it in the comics. It happened in the comics. But yeah, and that's kind of what made me think of that too, because I'm like, man, like Thor, like in the comic version they just did in Donny Cates' recent Thor, he was the Herald of Galactus, but what he was doing was he was showing up to planets and he was helping get everybody off the planet to safety before Galactus showed up to consume their planet. And like I said, I really feel like that's what's going on here. I really feel like that's what was going on here with him being there. He says, I got my daughter the Herald Thor run, her favorite character. Okay, yeah, is that you're talking about the recent Donny Cates run, right? That was a good run. I'm not even big into Donny Cates or Thor, but that run, that first, what was it, like 5-6 issues, fucking fire, man, fire. Daniel says, if we are going with wild ideas, why not have it be a universal endpoint, a la TVA Loki? Have it be a universal endpoint. What do you mean, like the show overall, or like this episode? This episode, like with the planet. But yeah, and I don't know. I mean, is that too wild of an idea that Thor being the Herald of Galactus? I mean, it is. I mean, we are talking multiverse and stuff. I don't know. I mean, but at the same time, I do feel that it is kind of out there too, considering that we don't have Galactus or anything in the MCU yet. But they're gonna have to do it at some point, and I think this show is kind of what they're using to obviously introduce characters and ideas and concepts and stuff like that. But I'm sure it's a little bit wild of an idea. Felicity says, "What if Bucky was Black Panther? Do it." yeah, absolutely. Mads Baba Bear, thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a very good day. Mr. Ratcatcher2 says, that's me. I'm Jared. Oh, okay, you're Jared. All right. I figured it was somebody here that was Jared, but okay, so you're Jared. All right, gotcha. Felicity, we know that ain't happening. Yeah, no, it's the wrong way. It's the wrong way. Like, it's the wrong way. Like, things can only the river can only flow one way. Odin being subservient to the Phoenix, and Thor being a mutant happened in the comics too. Don't give them ideas, Trinity. Yeah, like a Nexus event. I mean, oh, okay. Like, why not have it be? Okay. Yeah. I mean, it could be. I mean, but that would kind of, I don't know. And that's the thing when it comes to all this stuff is like, classifying things, you know, because the Nexus events are somebody doing something that's not supposed to happen. And yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting stuff going on in this episode. Like I said, the episode itself was pretty garbage. Not much going on. I mean, Thor fighting with Captain Marvel. His mom's coming. They clean up the planet. Then his mom shows up and he's like, "Oh, hey!" He's sitting there teaching everybody everything. Like, "Oh, it's all good, mom." I feel just like he's up to no good, right? I feel like he's up to no good with a lot of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it could be something that's going on that the TVA ends up having to show up for. Justin says, I'd love to see Terrax Terrible, Firestar, and the Herald from the 90s Herald ordeal. And I don't know enough about that. I don't know enough about all that kind of stuff. Like, see, like when it comes to a lot of stuff, I'm still pretty like normie when it comes to a lot of stories and a lot of things in the MCU, aside or not the MCU, but in the comic books. Just I've been expanding my knowledge here over the past couple of years, mostly with more modern books, which I think is probably a good thing for the MCU. But then here lately, over the last year or so, I've been expanding more into like older stuff. Which when I first got back into reading comics and stuff again too, like I was reading older stuff on Marvel Unlimited, and which is a good place if you guys want if you want to read old books, do research on stuff, guys. Marvel, and no, I don't. I'm not. You know, this sponsored by Marvel Unlimited or anything like that. But that service, I think you can pay like 60. Is it $60 or $70 for a full year of their service, and you get to read pretty much everything that they have online digitally. It's very, very worth it, especially at times with like these shows and everything. If you don't know all of this stuff, to go back and read and look into the stories that are going on. You can be a normie and do your own research without having to go to Wikipedia. And you could go to Wikipedia, look up whatever issues it happened in, whatever happened in, and go look it up. But you can do a lot of that stuff just by searching on Marvel Unlimited. But if you're looking close enough throughout these shows, these movies and stuff like that, they give you what to look for into anyway. Like in WandaVision, I ended up looking up Avengers number like, what was it, like 352 or something like that. And I looked into several of these different books that were happening around that same era of stuff, which was very interesting because that number, that issue number, ended up tying into some stuff that kind of related to what was going on in WandaVision as well. So Marvel Unlimited is so cool for stuff like that. If you don't have all the comic books, you don't have like some of like I've been collecting the omnibus or anything like that, you can get on there and research a lot of this stuff yourself, man. And it's like that's what I prefer to do. Like the normie thing is, man. You go Wikipedia it and read up on a Wikipedia article and all of a sudden you're an expert. Like me, like I like the stories because if you go to Wikipedia and those kinds of things, these wiki pages, you're looking at somebody else's translation of what happened, right? You're still looking at ultimately what somebody else believed happened or what they seen happen or how they translate it to happening, as opposed to reading it yourself and seeing how it turns out, which is ultimately the way I think you should do it as far as that kind of stuff. So, yeah, definitely cool stuff. So let's see. Silver Surfer 70 through 75. Check them out. All right. Mr. Jared says it doesn't feel like it's all tie in by. It doesn't feel like it's all tie. It doesn't feel like this will all tie in by end of season 1. Main reason I'm gonna stop watching because they just saving all those cliffhanger endings for season 2. It looks like. Yeah, it easily could be. Very much so. And as much as this is tying into the MCU and events from the MCU, I mean, maybe they're just going to use it and kind of like you're saying, use it as a TV show. Keep it like an ongoing thing and just kind of strings you along. It's like, eh. And then they're just going to, well, I think it was like, was it Romeo saying that earlier? Maybe like he was saying earlier, where they're just going to take and pick ideas from what people are talking about and what people like, maybe fan theories they heard, and use them for that reason. And I'm gonna say that they actually do 100% do that. I 100% believe they do that because the whole theory about Loki not really dying in Infinity War and he was just floating there in space. He was a piece of garbage. In that Loki series, when they had Richard E. Grant talking about that, they took that from the fans. They took that from the fan speculation and the theories and all that. And they're like, oh, that's a cool idea. Let's use that in this show. Damn well they took that. Damn well that was the fan theory that they took and they used it. It almost reminds me of like something that they actually completely paid homage to in Cobra Kai. Was it Cobra Kai? Isn't that the name of the show? Where they had that, what was it, like episode 4 or whatever, where they had him talking about that whole theory video from YouTube that Daniel LaRusso was actually the bad guy, and they made that whole episode based off of that. That was like a fan theory thing. I feel like we were saying earlier, I feel like they would do the same thing here with a lot of that, and using So like you said, some of the stuff fans are talking about, like, oh hey, they're talking about this. That's a good idea. Let's cherry pick that one and use that in an episode or in a show or something for a concept for a movie. Because I really do feel that the thing they did with Richard E. Grant in the Loki series was exactly that. Was exactly that. But yeah, I mean, again, and that's the thing I don't like about TV shows. That's the thing I don't like about TV shows either, Jared, is because they're just meant to string you along. They don't always necessarily have an ending. Look at Seinfeld, some of those kinds of things. And that, like I said, that's some of the reason I just don't like TV shows as much because it's meant to string you along. It's not really meant to have these super done endings, if you will, if you will. Let's see here. What else? What else we got here? What if the Punisher raised baby Thanos? I need this. What if? Like at this point, it wouldn't be really a what if. It would just be them adapting Donny Cates' Cosmic Ghost Rider story. I mean, that's essentially what Cosmic Ghost Rider was. The Cosmic Ghost Rider series, which if you read it, was actually pretty funny. It was actually a pretty good series. The Cosmic Ghost Rider series. It wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty good. I like a good amount of Donny Cates stuff. Yeah. He's pretty good. Like I'm just not like a huge fan of his, and like I don't know. I need to read more of his indie stuff for sure. I just like the concept of several heralds going around prepping planets for Galactus. Yeah, absolutely. And that could easily be what's going on. And like I said, maybe he is a herald for Galactus, and maybe Ultron ended up showing up because he's like, oh, he's coming here. I need to go there and get that stone before this place gets destroyed. Yeah. So the concept is if they use those old heralds from that storyline, it'd be cool. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I was gonna say, and that's the thing is like, because while the MCU don't exactly make adaptations of these movies or of the comic books, they do definitely use the comic books as ideas and stuff for what they're doing in the movies. Not direct adaptations or anything, but yeah, definitely. Yeah. MCU loves those Easter eggs. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. And again, that's why I feel like this episode, while it wasn't the best one, I think, and just like the zombie episode, I think both of those episodes, while they were boring and just not very good for me, and probably the series overall for a lot of people, so people probably be like, oh, well, you're that works for the whole series for me, Trinity. But I feel just like in the MCU, all the cool stuff that expands the universe, the things they use, the little Easter eggs they use for shit that they're building up later, is stuff that's done in the most mundane conversations, little things going on, kind of background stuff, really, that they use to build threads later. Where here in this episode, it didn't really have much going on in it. Nothing happened. But I feel it was an episode where they're using to plant seeds for other shit to come later in the MCU. Like, you know, for like the coolest thing that happened was we got at the very end, we got the Vision Ultron. So I mean, will we get Vision Ultron later in the MCU? Doubt it. But the fact of, if I'm right about Thor being a herald here for Galactus, they're setting that up. And later, when they introduce Galactus or whatever, and we find out, like in the main timeline with Galactus and the heralds and everything, they're gonna tell us, oh, well, remember, in this, you'll if you remember back in this episode of this, you see that Thor was actually being a herald for Galactus or whatnot in that case, for stuff like that. So, and the reason why, I was gonna say, because I was like, why would Thor clean up the planet and everything with Frigga getting ready to come, is because his father is the protector of the realms, yet he's a herald of Galactus. Right? I don't know. I could be wrong. there. Kind of like Colty's take on Vormir, the center of celestial existence, as quoted by Nebula. Yeah, well, yeah, and that exactly. Yeah. And I thought that was a huge thing too. When when Colty said that in his video, I'm like, bro, I was kind of thinking that same thing for a long time, like, but I don't know what sense to make of it. Like, it doesn't really make any sense with a whole lot right now. But yeah. He pointed that out. I'm like, oh shit, yeah. But yeah, all the things happen in little mundane conversations. Yeah. Trinity, I mean, they should really stretch themselves, not necessarily use the true what if comics. I mean, the Cosmic Ghost Rider wasn't a what if scenario. It was just an alternate universe kind of thing that they did with the Cosmic Ghost Rider there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like they need to use it in like obviously since they're not going to just completely directly adapt stuff, which I mean completely would work out. They need to, like you said, be really creative with it, but make it good. Because I mean, I think they've done pretty good throughout the MCU so far with most of that stuff. But again, like we were talking about before, you go to the first three phases. You have Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. Christopher Marcus, Stephen McFeely. They were doing a lot of the writing and everything there, and they were so good at so much of that stuff. So good at that. That Punisher Baby Thanos story is hilarious. Yeah, it is. It's a good one. It's a good one. And which is funny because they actually made reference to it in Endgame. They actually kind of referred to it if you think about it. When they're like, well, why don't we go find him when he's a baby? And I mean, that was essentially a nod to Cosmic Ghost Rider. But yeah. But anyway, guys, I think that's all I've got for today. Again, please let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you're watching this on the replay, let me know what you think about these theories, what you think about the episode, and all of that stuff as well. But that's all I've got for today's video, folks. Thank you all so much for being here today. Make sure that if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed, click the little bell and all that good stuff, because we're going to have some upcoming comic reviews getting ready to come out as well. Because today is New Comic Book Day. I've got a few new comic books here that I want to talk about. But you all have a very good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.